Good evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us this evening right here on Transforming Families. My name is Faith Kaulu, and as usual, I'm very, very excited to have you on board because this means that we are transforming our families for a better society. And to do this evening, even as we talk about work and retirement, a very important topic for us to talk on and touch on this evening, I am gladly joined by Reverend Edward Karanja. Thank you so much for being here, Rev.
Yes.
Reverend Edward is a minister with the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, as well as a marriage and family therapist. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Faith. It's always a pleasure to be at CAT TV in this Transforming Families program. And like we always say here at CAT TV, stable families for a stable society.
Sure thing.
Yes.
Thank you so much as well, Professor, for joining us this evening. Professor Catherine Gashudha is the director of the Kenya Institute of Business and Counseling Studies, a counseling psychologist, as well as an author. Thank you so much, Prof, for being here.
Thank you so much, Faith.
Yeah.
Building families one step at a time.
Yeah, one step at a time it is indeed.
Yeah.
And I love how you always put it, family is work, but it is worth a work.
Yes.
And thank you all for always availing yourself
Thank you.
so that we may be able to transform families together. Now today we are touching on work and retirement because almost entirely, 3/4 of our lives, we work. I mean, nowadays people start working even from a very younger age than before. You'd find a 15-year-old after school closed, they go and look for something to do. Yeah. And we want to incorporate this and look at how it affects the family, whether in working, whether during retirement and all that. So let's begin with looking at work. I'd love us to start with work as we progress to retirement. Yeah. I'd ask a very funny question to begin with. Here's a young person who's really job searching, and we understand how difficult it can be today. And she or he is in a stable relationship, and the other partner is working, and they're planning to get married. But now work is not coming, and they're waiting. Years are going and passing by, and they say, you know what, let's settle down. Work will come as we continue with our marriage. Yeah. Is this a very wise decision to do, or should they continue and wait for an income to come so that they settle down together? I don't know who'd like to take that up.
Yeah, sometimes it gets very challenging for young people. And we have seen young people delaying their marriage to a point that they get old when they are still waiting for them to be productive. And therefore we really appreciate that getting work or getting something to do is something that is critical for a person. Yeah. And in your case, the scenario that you have given us, should they get married? I can say they should. They should, because this is a person who is searching. This is not a person who is staying idle and saying, I want to get married to you, and because you're the one who is earning or who is doing something, then I can ride on you.
Yeah.
The challenge would be a person who would want to become a dependent to the one who is working. To that extent, it would not be healthy. But to the extent that one is waiting and looking and trying to look at alternative ways of making themselves to be productive, these young people should actually get married. And then they can continue with the job search, or even with looking for something to do, whether it's going to be business. Nowadays, I see young people to be very creative, much more than we used to be creative growing up.
Yeah.
Because again, the contemporary world has given them a huge menu in terms of what to choose from. And therefore they can do a lot. And I see them picking little things that they are doing which are giving them money or finances. And therefore people should not just say there is no work that I can do. There are so many things that one can do, even without putting in resources or even without having investments into what they need to do. They just need to be creative. They just need to open themselves to the reality. There is so much to do. I remember growing up, and sometimes mom would not have something to cook for us, and we could go to our older father's farm and we are paid, and for that day we are going to get something to eat and drink. And therefore, for people who are creative and they are willing to work, they will still get something. It may not be the destination they want to be at in terms of work, but nevertheless they are being productive and they are able to get something on the table in terms of food and nourishment, and therefore they are not just waiting, they have something. So I would say let them get married. They are still searching, they're still open to doing something, but maybe the particular person does not have to only think about employment. They can also think about what is it that I can also do with my own hands without really looking for that big work that I have been looking for.
Thank you so much. Rev, are you of the same idea?
Partly, yes.
All right.
If a young person is not working, one is okay to get married if you are in total agreement with your spouse and you have been preparing for it, but you're not getting married because you have lacked a job. And so you think if you are a lady, getting married is full-time job.
It's a way out.
It's a way out. You know, like this is the way out for, since I don't have a job, this is a way out. Kwa hivyo nitaenda kwa sababu badala nikae kwa nyumbani kwa mama yangu, wacha niende kwa, you know, Mohamed ama kwa Otieno ama Wafula, na nikifika kwa Mutiso atakuwa kazi. Atakuwa ninakula na kunywa na lala, kuna haja kukaa na mzazi. If you have that mentality, then it will be wrong. Because like I said last week, you cannot peg your survival on another human being's existence. That human being can go home to be the Lord. And I want to repeat that again. 2, no one wants to have a burden in their life forever. The days are gone, and it's good for the, you know, especially for the ladies, and I may sound biased because I'm a man, especially for the ladies. Days are gone when you earn your respect because you are Mrs. So-and-so. There's a time you used to be, huyo ni bibi ya DC. And people will not touch bibi ya DC. Huyo ni bibi ya chief. Huyo ni mke wa mwalimu. Bwana yake anakuanga ni mwalimu.
Very true, very true.
The days when you earned your respect because of who your husband was, those days are gone. Even today, there are few people who are honoring the children because of who their parents are. You go around, you know, mtoto wa mwalimu hangeguzwa. You know, hata tulikuwa, there was even a common saying that uchafu huwa inaua mtoto wa mwalimu na daktari. You know, because those were the special kids and the need children. Today, it is who you are as an individual. That's why somebody will go, you know, asukume mkokoteni, aendeshe wheelbarrow, awe na mali, and then that person will be respected as per who they are, not because of their association. So, and when you get married to a man and you're not, or a woman and you're not working, even if you're a man, and the person carries you on their shoulders for a year, 2, 3, they will get tired. Nobody wants to have a burden around them for the rest of their life. Yes.
Wow, quite interesting, and which has brought in something. Right now, a lot of people have lost their jobs because of the pandemic. And this is something that wasn't pre-planned. So you're in a relationship, you're in a marriage, of course. It has caused havoc here and there in a few marriages. How to go about job loss in a relationship, especially for the man. I know and I acknowledge it is tough if the man loses his job compared to the wife in the family. So, Prof, of course, you both touch on this, especially Rev.
Yes.
As a man. Let's start with Professor.
You lose a job, and like you have said, during this period of Corona, there are so many people who have lost their jobs or even their businesses. They may have been employed, or even your business that has gone down. I am in the education sector, and I know we have lost a lot of education institutions, whether that is basic education in the institutions, the primary schools, or even in TVET. We have lost a lot of TVET institutions. That means there's so many people, I'm just looking at one sector, there are so many people who have lost, both males and females. And so when you come at home, what are we expecting is going to happen? There needs to be a lot of understanding. This is a situation that has come, and the person who has lost the job did not look for it. It is something that has found him or her, and you find like you don't have work, you can't go to work, you can't go to your business because it's gone and gone completely. Families that are healthy, they look at that and what it means for them. Dad has lost work, or my husband has lost work during Corona period. I would want to understand him the same way he would need to understand me. And that's how it needs to be in families. And then they can figure out, now that it is the man who has lost the job, what do we need to do? How do we move forward from here? Is it that he's going to look for work, to be employed again, or to start a business? We need to look at the options that are there. But again, praying and trusting God that something is going to come by for the person who has lost their job. But there should be a lot of understanding and a lot of analysis of the situation so that we can be able to see what else needs to be done. But the component that is emotional and psychological also is one that sometimes when we are getting angry at each other because someone has lost and we don't want to understand, we don't take care of that. Just to appreciate that when one loses work or is disengaged from work, or we use the term employment separation. You've been separated from work involuntarily or voluntarily. During Corona period, it has been involuntary. And so because of that, you're flat-footed. You do not know how to move forward. And there is a lot of emotional and psychological conflicts that go with that. And therefore, we need to help the family member who has lost their job to come into terms with that and to see what is it that they have lost when they have lost the job. Relationships, familiarity, resources, security, mortgages that were there that he cannot be able to process anymore. We need to have all that so that we can help this family member to be settled emotionally and psychologically regarding what has happened, so that even as we are planning the way forward as family, we can take cognizance of all that. Do we need to restructure loans? What else do we need here in this space because of where we are coming from in terms of that employment and what it meant for us as family, and now what it has meant for us now that he is not employed anymore, or the business is not there anymore. What does it mean for us? So helping each other to be able to handle it becomes the better way forward. I found my husband supporting me a lot when schools had to be closed. And Kenya Institute of Business and Counseling Studies had to be closed in March. And they said, you know, we value you much more than business. If this business is going to go down, you don't have to go down with it. We can allow the business to go down, but we allow you as mom, we allow you as my wife to still be there for us. And also to not look at your self-worth against what you lose, but against who you are and what you're capable of doing. So that support was very useful for me. And I was very grateful for them that they told me whether it goes down or it continues on, we still value you, and you are important for us, very important for us, yes.
Amazing.
So that support is useful.
All right, thank you. Now, before we come to you, Rev, just a question. You mentioned that bring the discussion up, talk as a family, and know what is the way forward. But in such instances, I'd say the affected partner is usually a bit too, what is the word? Easily agitated, and it becomes quite hard to bring up the discussion. So, what would be the right way to be able to discuss such matters with them?
Right. We need to understand that they are going through loss. And when one is going through loss, there is a lot of grief around what they have lost. They are getting frustrated and agitated, not with family members.
Okay.
Maybe when they are agitated, it's because of something they have been asked. But it's not about the family members, but it's about what they have lost. If we can understand employment separation and what it does, then we'll be able to be patient with the family member so that we can help him, or we can help them to be able to reflect much more on what has happened to them. So their irritation is no more, anger is no more, guilt and all the other feelings and emotions surrounding one who is grieving. So that once we appreciate that, then we'll be able to walk through the ropes of seeing what we need to do next.
Yeah, thank you so much. Rev, let's come to you now.
All right. Thanks a lot, Faith. And Prof, that was quite good. And totally in agreement about the separation of the person from the employment. And I got to mention a few things here concerning work and work loss and the effect of it, just a little bit. To begin with, it's good to always ask yourself, where do you place your worth? What gives you identity as a person? If what gives me identity as a person is the type of the car I drive, if I go to a place whereby the function is in point A, but we are being told we must park the cars in point B, I'll even start fighting with the parking crew because I want everybody in the function to know who I am through the car I have driven in there. And there are people who really fight will be told park here, and they're like, no, I can't park there. They want to push the car to the actual venue so that everybody can see the kind of a car I am coming out of, because that's where you place your worth and value. And if the value is in you as a person, you'll have no issues parking the car over there and walking to the venue like every other person. If your worth is in your job, and you think the reason why your wife or your children or your husband, the reason why they respect you, they love you, is because of the job you have, then the moment you lose the job, we need first of all to treat you as a person. And that's why you need therapy, so that you can be helped, you as a person, so that you realize you have lost the job, you have not lost the family, you have not lost your respect, you've not lost your wife or children or husband. It is only that the job has gone. Just in case your value or where you placed your worth, you placed it in your provision as a person. So that's the whole dynamic that we as a person, you need to like look at yourself in the mirror and even ask yourself, what is it that gives you identity as a person? I am a reverend. Is it only the collar that gives me identity? In that the moment I am not without a collar, I start feeling like nobody looks at me as a minister again. I'm no longer a pastor. I have lost it. So what gives me identity? If the ordination is in me, or is it just because the collar I will adorn every other day? Is it the title like Prof carries? Is it just the title of Reverend or the professor that gives you the identity? Or even you will be a place and mingle with the people freely. Then when later on they are told that these are professors, like, hiya, you mean you are eating these chips or there with a prof? Because your worth is not just in the title. This is Faith Kaulu, and you're all over Kaulu jumping around with the fellow youth and you're having fun, and then they're told, oh, she's in CAC TV, she's one who hosted, and the way she was mingling with us like she's one of us. Because what gives you identity and worth is not just that being on TV, it is who you are as Faith Kaulu. So that's one of the things that is important for us to look into. Then the other thing is that how have you been working with your family?
Okay.
Unfortunately, many people who are earning and have more resources, they tend to look down at on the other family members. If it's the husband who has more money, they tend to dismiss and belittle the wife. If it's the wife who has more money, the wife tends to belittle the husband. So if what is putting you on top is your finances, the moment you lose the finances, now the other person may take the advantage now to oppress you. Like during the COVID season, if the husband lost the job and the wife still has a job, I'm holding a job because probably it was the smaller job. Ile tunasemanga pesa ya mama ni ya kununua sukuma na tomatoes. Sasa hii pesa kubwa imeenda. Sasa hii pesa ndogo ndio ya kutegemewa kwa nyumba. Now if you are oppressing her because of your pesa kubwa, now you are coming to depend on the pesa ndogo. I can assure you it will not be smooth riding. Because one may take the advantage and realize, aha, now I have the opportunity to hit back. I have the opportunity to oppress. So from the word go, it's always good to realize how to ask yourself, how do we manage the resources? Like I always tell couples when I do the PMCC classes, the premarital classes, there is the percentage of your finances that I say, those are your finances. Whereby hiyo part of it ni ya kulipa tithe na offering, kuna ile ingine ni yako, jue ndio unaenda kazini. Kuna ile ingine ni ya familia, which is the bigger percentage. And always we go through those percentages when you come to the premarital classes. We go through the percentages whereby even as I spend, I'm the one who went for work, I'm the one who has worked, but even as I spend this money, it's not my money. It's a family money. So even if I lose the job, it is a family that has lost. It's not me. So even as I face my family, I am facing them because already we were flowing together with the family. And that's something especially men need to learn in a big way. That the money you earn is not your money. It is a family money. Is this a family resources? So that even if the resources are not there, you can still discuss with the family and they could understand. They will work with you because even in abundance, you worked with them. So now, even in the scarcity, the family will be able to work with you. But if in abundance, you are never available, you are rude, you came home when you wanted to come home, now you have lost the job. You are now depending on your wife's pesa ndogo. Sasa hiyo utaimba za mgaibuni. It can be a challenge at that particular moment. So that's why we need to, prepare people psychologically on that. However, it is good now to work together so that you can even get out of that ditch together.
Indeed.
I hope I have covered
very well. Thank you so much for that. Maybe briefly, before we go on a very short break, why is it that men feel most vulnerable when they have lost their job?
One is good to say that there is what we call the natural order. The natural order, the man is the head of the family, as Christ is the head of the church. And when the man is the head of the family, when he's taking care of the family, he feels okay. You'll hardly hear the man going around saying, mimi nimechoka kulisha huyu bibi. Mimi nimechoka kusomesha watoto. Everybody will look at you and wonder, ulitaka wasomeshwe na nani? Ulitaka bibi afe chakula nani? But if a wife or a woman in the house is the one who is 100% providing for the family, most of them will get tired. Within no time utasikia mwaka moja mbili na mimi ndio nalisha hii boma. Utasikia bibi anaanza kusema mimi nitalisha mwanaume ako na ndevu na nilisha watoto. The natural order is that the man is the head of the family. He's the provider for the family. The woman supplements. That's what the Bible says. I'll make you a suitable helper. So when instead of being the helper, she becomes the main provider, naturally she starts becoming a little bit uncomfortable. That's why when a man loses job, they feel like they have lost it all.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Great.
Well, thank you so much for that, guys. An interesting discussion on tonight's episode. Let's take a very short break, but we'll be right back, so do not go too far.
If you want your children to make more friends, Sunday school is a great place to find them. As they learn and play together on Sunday mornings, they will be able to form healthy friendships with children whose parents have the same priorities as you. In support of this, children's Sunday school books and stationery are now available at the head office bookshop, South C, Nairobi. We also have the brigade material including brigade badges, brigade cards, brigade books, and brigade caps. Make your purchase today. For more information, call 0722 205051.
We get close to you. We allow you tell the story.
There's no health without mental health.
How does one live without one breast?
It all comes down to the choices that we are making.
We have had several people buried through cancer.
It's a privilege.
Some part of the brain will have to die.
It's very hard for people to come out and say that I'm going through this.
Love, care,
To educate, inform, and inspire.
On Health Nuggets, we listen, tell, and impact.
Your health matters.
Your health matters.
Your health matters.
Welcome back to Transforming Families, and thank you so much for keeping it right here. Let's continue discussing and commenting on our social media pages. Facebook and YouTube is at CAC TV Kenya. I appreciate each and every feedback you're giving us, and I see them as well. We are talking about work and retirement on tonight's episode, and I'm really excited that we are having this talk because it is not very often that we sit down and think, how does work really affect the family? And so I'm glad that tonight we are doing just that. Now let's talk about how a toxic work environment affects the family, because if a husband or a wife is working in an environment that is very stressful, of course this will also reflect back at home. So let's explore this sector.
Right. A toxic environment can be toxic because of many reasons. One, it can be about targets and numbers, and employees can be pushed to the limit to bring these numbers that don't seem to be coming. And that means that you are agitated and frustrated and fatigued by following numbers that are not seeming to be coming in. And so because of that, you go home and you are displacing your irritation and your frustration and your stress on the family members. And the family members are feeling this is becoming too much. You have to keep your work to yourself and not bring the climate of your work to home situation. So that affects a lot. When workplace is demanding so much of the worker and the worker is not able to give that which the workplace is asking for, and that becomes very frustrating to a point now they are displacing whatever frustrations they are having to the family members. But the number two is when one is going through vicarious fatigue or frustration or traumatization, the little bits that happen because of bad relationships or poor communication within workplace, or a boss who is very condescending on a worker and does not give you room to breathe. You remember the George scenario where he was saying, I can't breathe. Where you're feeling, I can't breathe. I am in workplace and I can't breathe actually because my boss does not allow me to breathe. That again is a toxic environment, and that toxicity, because it's labbing on the individual, can be taken home. It can be taken to the marriage, where you can find yourself fighting over very petty things, and you're not understanding, why are we fighting over this? We never used to fight over small things, but now we are fighting over small things because there is one of us who is going through a very difficult experience in their workplace. But again, toxicity can come through lack.
Okay.
Like during the corona period, salaries had to be reduced.
Yeah.
You used to be given a certain package. Now you cannot go home with that package. And therefore, those frustrations that come with, I can't meet my obligations, I can't meet my needs, and I don't know when I am going to be able to do that. Those little frustrations within oneself that are developing because of a situation. Now, it is not about the boss, and it is not about the structure of work or the demands of work, but it's about work cannot meet obligations. And because of that, the frustration that come with that, and making one react, you take those reactions to the family, and the family is later dysfunctional because of that. You're not able to communicate because of the agitation and the lack of patience and the lack of elasticity that one may have. And therefore, because of that, the marriage can be put to an end because of that, because we are not able to handle issues. Or children can run away from home because they are not able to deal with this climate that is becoming too hostile for them. And then the family, we don't know where we lost it as a family, but we lost it because of what is coming from our workplaces that is not very healthy, and we are bringing that unhealth to the home environment.
Wow. Let's talk about workaholics as well.
Yes.
Now, here's a person who's so much engaged in their work that they forget, hiya, by the way, family time, hakuna kabisa.
Yes.
And indeed, they're at work in the very early in the morning. They come out very late, maybe at around 10 or 11. And indeed, they're at work, and they don't see a problem with that.
Thank you very much. You know, it's very important the way you have put it, that they don't see a problem with that. You know, one leaves very early in the morning, he lives in darkness, comes back home late when the children are asleep, and you begin that tradition early. And you put in so many hours at the place of work, and you become successful. That reality hits you when you retire, or when, if you don't retire, the moment you lose your job, or when your children grow and they leave home. That's when the reality starts hitting you. Because most people who put in so many hours of work, and then they do not spend time with the family, you will end up making money. The family enjoys the money because you're paying the house for them. And you are buying whatever they need, you're paying the school fees, but you lose the family because you do not have a relationship with them. They do not see you, they do not know you, they do not know who you are. They don't know how to relate with you. You will find children who clearly knows that their mother did not provide for them, for example, and the father was providing. You find them very close to the mother because she was available. And you know, children, especially from 0 to about 12 years, they relate love with time spent together with them. That's when you'll find a child of about 5, 10 years, or 5 years, they will tell you, Mom, Dad, leo unaenda job hapa, and they are happy that you are going to be home. Within a minute, they have left you in the house, wameenda nje kucheza. They are happy you're in the house, but they're not with you. When you want to prepare to leave, you say, kwani daddy unaenda? Si ukae. You are wondering, even if I car here, haukai na mimi, unaenda nje kucheza. But your environment, your presence in the home brings a lot of peace to them. So when you work so hard and you don't spend time with the family, you will have resources, invest for them, but you're not investing in them because you don't spend time with them. Invest for them. Then you will find when by the time you retire, you are alone. Those are the people you'll find, they could be wealthy, well-to-do, but they are very lonely. And you'll find their wives who are probably housewives, they are very happy, and the children are very close to their mothers. And you find those men starting feeling like they are shortchanged. Like, how comes, these children, and you even hear them, some of them very bitter, and we meet with them even in social places, they be golfing and other places, and they tell you, wanawake hawana heshima, unamsomeshia watoto, you wonder kwanza walikuwa watoto wake peke yake, hawana heshima, watoto unawasomesha, wakati wako na pesa ni mama yao tu ndio wanashughulikia. You see, it's the mother they knew, it's the mother they talk to, or the father, whoever is home, is the one the children relate with. That's what I would say. It is good, like when we teach families and we do family, work balance relationship, we talk about the wheel balancing of the family, whereby you spend time at work, you spend time with the family, but then you must always try to make the two meet in that wheel balancing. Because time with the family means you are away from work. So if you put in so much hours with the family, not with work, you will lose your job and the family will have nothing to eat. So you'll also lose the family. If you spend too much time at work, you'll have a lot of money, but you'll have no family. So again, the resources you're making do not make any sense. So that's why you need to balance, whereby you create some moments from work to be with the family. You create moments from family to be with at work, but ensure you do not lose time with the family. Many children, when you ask them, what is love? Love is time spent together with them. And it's not just about quality time, even quantity, whereby you are there in the house. I find it even in my own house. I will be home with my family, and my wife will be on the couch sleeping. She's lying on the couch, but she's still happy that I'm at home and, not any other place. So it's good for one to know that time with the family may mean, again, you are away from work, which is very important. Time at work means you are away from the family, which is also important. So try and balance the two. Don't put so many hours at work at the expense of the family. Don't put too much hours in the family at the expense of work, because finally you will have no money to even spend on that family. It's important to balance the two. It's crucial.
All right, thank you so much for that. Now let's talk about retirement. Previously on last week's episodes, we briefly touched on that when we were discussing about aging and the elderly. And we say that retirement is a process. Maybe just to reiterate on the same, if someone did not catch the episode, which is on our YouTube page, that is at CAC TV Kenya, but maybe just to reiterate on the same, let's talk about the retirement process, how to ensure that you are securing even the stability of your family, even as you continue to prepare for your retirement. Retirement.
There is early retirement, and there is retirement at a terminal retirement, where you retire because you have reached the mature age for your retirement. And early retirement will come because of you've been rendered redundant, or there is rationalization in workplace, and therefore some people have to be retired. And so because of that, you have lost your work, not because you wanted to lose your work, but because there are other situations within workplace that have warranted you to lose your work. But now there is the terminal retirement because of the age, and that's the one that we are talking about. You have retired and you have come home, and maybe the family members are feeling, we wish you're out there, you're becoming too much here. And just like Lefred has said, if we never balanced before, then people will find it very unfamiliar to have you all the time at home. And we have had situations even where women are saying, do you have to come home with the chicken? Why can't you be out there with other men? You're becoming too much. Allow us to cook and then you can come later. Becoming too much because they never felt you or felt your presence before, so that they can be comfortable with you. And retirement, even for organizations, there is need to prepare people for retirement, not at the point where now they are separating from work, but before then, because there is an emotional, psychological preparation for employment separation that needs to go in here, so that when people are prepared emotionally and psychologically, one, they will be able to let go of workplaces. We have seen again scenarios where people have retired, but they still wear their suit, their tie, and go and pretend that they have gone back to they are still continuing with their work, but they are not even going to work. They are going and mingling with people and coming back in the evening. And yeah, you can see that that is a person who has not let go. So that emotional letting go is crucial. Lefred talked about, before we went for Blake, he talked about people making sure that they define themselves appropriately. When you lose your work, you are another entity. You're not the entity you were before. The person who used to work for this big company was given the company vehicle and was given the company other resources. And you used to mingle with people, and you used to have a lot of allowances, and even go to other countries or many parts of the country. You know, you're different now. Your lifestyle is going to be different from the lifestyle that you used to have before. Your spending needs to be different than the way you used to spend before. And you need to figure out, even if we talk about employment separation or work separation, and especially when we are talking about work separation, there is no time that we need to be separated from work, because you continue working. So again, the understanding and the spirit behind work separation or employment separation. You still have things to continue doing. You still have work to continue doing. It may not be employable work that you're doing, but it is still work nevertheless. It may not be money, work that is bringing money, but it is work nevertheless. So at the employment separation point, the continuity will depend on how well we were prepared for work separation. And when there is good preparation, like 10 years, we need to prepare ourselves for that, figuring out, trying to think, if I was separated from work, what would I want to continue doing after that? That means all the components and the elements that come with work, they have been clearly thought through, and we have factored what we need to do, and even how we are going to be relating with each other. Family members, we need to talk with them and tell them, you know, I'm going to be retiring in 5 years' time or in 2 years' time. How would we want, can we start doing rehearsals of how family life is going to be when eventually I am going to be retired from work, so that when now it happens, just like Lefred had said in another episode, we do not grow old. I mean, because we have gotten to 65 and now we are old. No, and we do not retire because this is the day that we have retired, but it should actually be a journey that we are going through, and we are taking family members through the journey, so that even them, they can be acclimated with how it is going to be like once now the family member is not going to be going to work. That rehearsal, in essence, helps them to be able to see how they continue on.
Thank you so much for that, Prof. And now it brings the aspect of what next after retirement, especially since we have mentioned where is your worth. For some people, it's in the work they do. So here you are, you retire and you realize, hiya, so who am I? You don't interact with the people you used to, you don't have the privileges that were there. I mean, even as you are thinking and preparing your family for the retirement to come, what are some of the activities you should plan that, hi, after retirement, this is what I think I will engage in, or this is what I will do?
Thank you very much, Faith and Prof. That was very comprehensive. It matters, very comprehensive. It matters retirement, and even matters preparation, because, like Prof has said, it's important for you to realize that retirement is that moment when you stop, you know, the active working life comes to an end, going to an office and all that. A friend of mine, I'll quote him, Professor Kaburu Mutoribo, and he was in Gresa University as the chancellor. We worked together in the staff retirement benefit scheme of this church, Presbyterian Church of South Africa. And he said to us when he retired, and went to see him in Kanyakine. And as we sat down with him when he retired to the board, he told us, the problem of retirement is not what to eat. It is what to do every day.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Professor said, that there are people who will wake up and wear their suit and tie and still go to an office because they do not know what to do. You hear even at home, you get even harassed if you are a man, because you are sitting around the wife all over and she's not used to your presence. And she's like, can't you go and be with the rest of the men out there and come back later in the evening? At least you'll give me space to operate around here. I always tell people, when you are working, your family has about 75% of your income because you educate them, you feed them, and they have just about 25% of your presence because you are hardly at home.
Yeah.
When you retire, your family have 100% of your presence and 0 of your income. So the question is, when are you more important now?
Yeah.
If your importance was the 75% income, now you have brought your entire body and no income. So who is going to get excited with his body that is at home without an income? So for me, the preparation for retirement is from the moment you get employed. Not even like the 5 year to whatever you need. The moment you get employed, start preparing for that retirement. And as you prepare for retirement, it is asking yourself, what financial position would I want myself to be in when I retire? I am now earning about 20,000. Do I want to retire with 10 or 5 or whatever? Then you start working towards that. Then you ask yourself the next question. Who will I retire with? Who are the people that I'm going to hang around with? The neighborhood I'm going to live in. Who are the people who are going to be my neighbors? Who will I be talking to? Who will I be going out with? And that's why even getting a social activity is important. You do not retire necessarily to change jobs. Not the people who will be like, if I am a minister, by the time I retire, I should be preparing myself to be a lecturer at the university, which is okay. But I can only lecture up to 70, 75. Then what? So retirement is not change of jobs. It's a lifestyle change. Say, for example, I am going to retire as a minister at 65. After I retire, I could even have started already volunteering services in a school as a counselor. Going to a certain school and I'm going there to give them free counseling services. That could be what I'll be doing. Maybe already I'm like, I have a group of men, we meet, we'll be going to have a cup of coffee, we'll be going to play a game of chess or a game of golf, or we shall be going out, even a swimming program, we are going swimming every other day, we'll be doing that. Who are these people you're retiring with? There were theirs around the village. Women are better off by far. A lady who retires, she wake up in the morning, prepare breakfast. Before she finishes, she starts washing dishes. By the time she's through washing dishes, it's time to lunch. For lunch, she's preparing lunch. By the time she's finishing lunch, she's preparing for dinner. So a lady's life is full. Even if one doesn't go to any other office, she can sit at home and be very active and very healthy. She has a chama for women, like 10 of them lined up. Men, we do not know chamas. So you got to ask yourself, what kind of resources I'm going to retire with? Who am I going to retire with? Who are the people I'll be hanging around with? Sometimes we think we are going to retire with our colleagues. And when we retire, we realize our colleague, we were only important to them because of the office we were holding. So it's good to know to differentiate between you as a person and the office you hold. For example, you get transferred from one station if you are a teacher. You get transferred. You are a head teacher, parents were all over coming to you, and you are a head teacher. You get transferred, and no single parent is coming to you. Nobody is calling your phone because you thought they wanted you as a person, but it is the head teacher they were associating with. You are a manager in a company. You transfer or you retire. They don't call you. You start hating people and say, oh, you no longer like me. You no longer call me. They were not calling you. They were calling the office you are holding at that particular moment. So it's good to also be prepared psychologically about retirement. And like Prof said, don't allow yourself to retire on the day you retire. If it is going to be like today is the 14th of October, don't allow yourself to retire on 14th of October 2020. If you're going to retire on 14th of October 2020, start retiring earlier. That even the hours you are putting to work are becoming less and less and less. By the time the retirement date is coming, even the workmates have almost forgotten that you exist, because you have already transited your lifestyle from the particular office to something else that you'll be doing.
Wow, thank you so much for that. This has been a very healthy discussion. I wish we really had more time, but unfortunately that's it for today.
Thank you.
You know, dear viewer, it does not end here as usual. Keep interacting with us on our social media pages. Facebook and YouTube is at CAC TV Kenya. As always, I am excited to hear from you on what you'd love us to touch on, and even on the feedback. And for everyone who's going through a very hard time or challenging time, I pray that the grace of God will be sufficient for you and see you through whatever it is. My name is Faith Kaulo. Till next time, goodbye.
The Juakari operators and others, our saloonists, Mama Mboga, our barbers, our economy to a large extent depends on you. We cannot allow Kenyans to die because of non-distancing in any sector. So those of you who are carrying out the hair cutting business in barbershops, in saloons, I am appealing to you today. Ensure that social distancing, fumigation of your working places, masks are used at all times. Just assume that everybody is positive and now deal with that situation. Participation of our citizens in the fight against the disease would be our key success factor.
We get close to you. We allow you tell the story.
There is no health without mental health.
How does one live without one breast?
It all comes down to the choices that we are making.
We have had several people buried through cancer.
It's a privilege.
Some part of the brain will have to die.
It's very hard for people to come out and say that I'm going through this.
Love, care, to
educate, inform, and inspire.
On Health Nuggets, we listen, tell, and impact.
Your health matters.
Your health matters.
Your health matters.